You didn't land here by coincidence. Maybe you were just scrolling, half distracted, letting the feed pull you along. Maybe you assumed it was random, nothing more than another moment passing by. But something in you, maybe small, maybe shy, recognizes this kind of moment. There's this quiet pull, like a thin thread tugging gently at your awareness, guiding you exactly where you need to be without announcing itself. And right now, it brought you here. Carl Jung once suggested that synchronicity is always at work. You only need the eyes to notice. Life is constantly sending us signals, through timing, through people, through the things that seem to just show up. Most of us miss them. We're wrapped up in planning, controlling, racing toward the next task, assuming that the important things will arrive with noise and fanfare. But often, what we need most doesn't bang on the door. It whispers. Think about the times life has nudged you, a message you stumbled upon at the exact moment you needed reassurance, a person who appeared with just the right words, a piece of content that somehow felt like it was speaking directly to you. These are not accidents. They're markers along the way, little reminders that you're not wandering without direction, even when it feels like you are. And right now, it brought you here. Lately, you might have felt disconnected, like something inside you is shifting, but you can't quite name it yet. It's that strange in-between place, no longer who you once were, but not fully sure who you're becoming either. Part of you is searching, not for more noise, but for meaning, for a sense of direction that actually feels like yours, for a life that isn't just routine or survival, but alignment. Maybe you've been craving clarity, a sign that what you're feeling is real, a reminder that you're not falling apart, you're evolving. You want to understand what this inner pull is. You want to feel grounded again, connected to something deeper than the everyday rush. You want to feel like you're not late, not lost, just on the verge of something that matters. That desire, quiet as it is what brought you here. It's what made you stop scrolling. It's what keeps you listening. Because a part of you knows this moment means something. Here's the turning point. And it rarely arrives with fireworks or dramatic signs. It doesn't shout or demand attention. Real change comes quietly, like a door that finally unlocks inside you, without anyone seeing it happen. And what unlocked that door? You paused. You noticed. You stayed long enough to feel something shifting. Most people never do that. They scroll past the very moments meant for them. They ignore the whispers life tries to send their way. But you, for whatever reason, didn't. Something made you stop here, in this exact moment. And that's something? That's readiness. Not readiness you think you have, not readiness you can explain, but readiness your soul has been cultivating silently through every hardship, every disappointment, every night you had to hold yourself together. Life has its own rhythm. It doesn't push you before you're capable. It waits for you to become the version of yourself who's able to understand the message. There is a timing to awareness, and right now, you're aligned with it. Think about how many experiences softened your defenses. The heartbreak that made you question your worth, the failure that knocked you backwards, the confusion that left you wondering who you are, the silence that forced you to feel instead of run. All those moments that felt like breaking, they were actually preparing you, thinning the walls around your truth. So that today, a simple message could slip through and land exactly where it needed to. It's not random that these words make your chest tighten or your stomach feel light or your mind suddenly go quiet. That's your inner world waking up. That's the part of you that's been buried under expectations and survival mode, saying, finally, you're listening. That shift isn't loud, but it's powerful. It's the beginning of choosing yourself, choosing honesty over performance, choosing presence over autopilot, choosing a life you actually feel instead of one you simply manage. You may not see the changes on the outside yet. You may look exactly the same, but inside, something has moved. Something has clicked. Something has whispered, "I don't want to live like that anymore." And once that whisper exists, there's no going back. This is the moment where awareness becomes your turning point, where your questions become your compass, where you stop forcing and start listening. Change doesn't start with clarity. Change starts with awakening, and you're in it right now. Even if it feels small, even if it feels uncertain, even if you can't name it yet. The shift has already begun. So here you are, in the aftermath of a moment that looks ordinary from the outside, but feels different on the inside. You might not fully understand what's changing yet, but you can feel the shift. And that feeling? It's the beginning of becoming who you were always meant to be. This is where things get quieter, not louder, where you stop performing and start returning to yourself. All your life, you've been told to push. Push to be better, push to be faster, push to be more. But this moment isn't asking you to push. It's asking you to see the truth that was always there. You are not late. You are not lost. You are not behind some invisible schedule that everyone else magically figured out. Life doesn't operate like a race. It moves like a heartbeat, rhythmic, intentional, precise. And somehow, without even realizing it, you've arrived exactly when you needed to. This isn't a motivational speech. It's not a hype moment. It's recognition. The moment you meet yourself where you are, not where you should be. Because the part of you that feels uncertain, that's the part finally waking up. That's the part whispering, "I want more than survival. I want me back." And now that you've heard that whisper, everything changes. Not overnight, not in some cinematic way, but in the small choices that rebuild a life worth living. You answer honestly instead of pretending you're fine. You walk away from what drains you. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You take up the space you deserve, even if your voice shakes. That's how transformation works. Quiet, gradual, unstoppable. The world won't immediately celebrate the shift, but your soul will, because you're finally choosing truth over convenience, presence over numbness, yourself over expectations. And I know part of you fears it's too late to redefine everything, that too much time has passed, that the window closed while you weren't looking. But listen closely. Life doesn't lock the doors on people who show up. It simply waits for them to knock. And whether you realize it or not, you just knocked. Your old world may feel like it's fading, but that's because you're outgrowing it. Your new world hasn't fully formed yet, but that's because you're still building it. This in-between isn't failure. It's rebirth. Maybe nobody sees how much you've endured. Maybe nobody understands the weight you've carried with a quiet, steady strength. But this moment, right here, is not about them. This is about you seeing you. You recognizing your own resilience. You honoring the fact that you stayed alive through every version of yourself that didn't want to continue. You're not here by chance. You didn't just scroll into this message. You arrived, right on time, because something in you was ready to return, not to who you used to be, but to who you really are. And if there's one promise I want you to walk away with, it's this. You're allowed to begin again, at 20, at 30, at 50, at any point your heart wakes up and says, this life can be more. There's no deadline on becoming. There's no expiry date on awakening. There's only this exact moment where everything shifts. So if this message stirred something in you, don't ignore it. Honor it. Follow it. Nurture it. Let this be the moment you stop surviving and start living. Let this be the moment you stop running and start arriving. Let this be the moment you whisper one simple truth to yourself. I'm awake. And if you feel that in your bones, even a little, then do one thing. Claim it. Comment awake below. Not for me, for you, to mark the moment you stepped into your timing, fully present, fully aware, and finally becoming who you were always meant to be. You didn't find this by accident. You were guided. You were ready. You are right on time. If this moment woke something in you, stay with this journey. There's more ahead. More reminders, more guidance, more alignment. Hit follow so you don't miss the messages meant for you. And if you feel called, share this with someone who might need to wake up too.